Hello and welcome to TAP141. I'm Declan Carroll and I'm joined by Luke Keena. Luke, you're stepping in. Well, you're not so much a substitute anymore. You're hanging around here a lot now. But Andy's away, so we had to get you out of the pub on a Friday night to do this one. So how are you keeping?
Yeah, all good. Sure. Sure, we step in now and again, like Ollie Gunnar Solskjaer would just throw his hat in the ring there at the last few minutes, comes in, does a bit,
Yeah.
pops out, pops away for another while.
Come in, get us a winner, and then we'll see you next time.
That's the plan anyway, sure, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I see that how the internet hasn't got any better now since we asked that, John. A bit of a delay.
Yeah, it was grand there on Saturday morning when we were going at early kick-off Saturday morning before Ferry House, but sure, we'll get there.
We'll get there. Right, look, obviously it is a special episode because we've a very special guest, and he just informed me he's going to go through the card with us as well. So, really looking forward to this. We have Peter Roe. We have Peter Roe. Peter, how are you getting on?
Good evening, Declan, Luke. Great to be back on the TAP141.
TAP141. Who would have thought we'd have made it this far? Look, we're delighted to have you, Peter. Things have changed since we last had you on. The last time we had you on at Easter, now you left the taps running at Ferry House. So I believe they sent you down to Thurles where there's no holes, so there's no chance of that. So,
no, look,
go on.
It was an interesting final Easter at Ferry House, and as you know, as I said, the problem was that the ground was drying out. We were watering away, and the next thing, Good Friday, heavens opened, and we lost Easter Saturday. And but look, it took off well, and we had a great Sunday, Monday, and a very impressive Horticolor winning the Irish Grand National. Spindle very, very good as well. So we had a very good Easter festival, but it was just one of those things.
Look, strange things happen around Easter, don't they? But I really enjoyed the 3 days. You got me a day off work on the Tuesday, so thanks for that. And you've mentioned Horticolor and Spindleberry, like two potential Gold Cup horses this year. Spindleberry in particular, if the trainer will let the owner have his way. So it was a nice send off for you, quality wise.
Well, absolutely, and it's amazing you talk about an overlap now. In my new role now, head of racing with the HRI Racecourse, and very much involved with Leopardstown. We're looking at the Paddy Power Irish Gold Cup, and Horticolors is a very strong probability he will come over, and Spindleberry might look as well. But look, he'll be taking on Gallopin Deschamps, who'll be going for his 4th Irish Gold Cup. I Am Maximus, and of course Noel Meade's Aphrodite Fury. So it's going to be a cracking DRF, and things are really shaping up for that weekend. We're going to see a lot of the rematches from some great races at Christmas. Solness, Marine Nationale. We see the Lossiemouth, Brighter Days Ahead. See some of the novices. Hopefully Romeo, Coolio. It'll be a great weekend. With my Leopardstown hat on in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, look, it's going to be a nice race course to be involved with these days because, there's a lot of focus on Leopardstown. A lot of British people come over, and obviously the quality is second to none, and it's certainly rivaling Cheltenham, if not passing it out for pure quality wise, because you get very few bad horses running at the meeting. But the new role, Peter, obviously you're involved. I don't see it as much now that you've changed roles. You used to be going around shaking hands. You're like a politician at Ferry House, but you must be a bit busier these days. So tell us about the new role.
Yeah, look, as I said, it changes as good as the rest. I've really enjoyed taking on the new role, which is, as I said, head of racing for Leopardstown, Navan, Ferry House, and Tipperary. And we're doing some helping roles with Thurles as well. And it's the racing side, it's between the white rails, and it's just in terms of ground race programming, liaising with trainers and everyone else. So it's very much the racing side. So the burgers and pints are no longer in my brief. It's the ground and the hurdles, the fences, the jockeys. It's a different side of it. But no, I'm certainly enjoying it. As I said, Christmas, I suppose, at Leopardstown was my first real head on. But, it's great working with some great lads on the track and the racecourse managers, and it is a change, but it's certainly no retirement, I can tell you.
No, like, and obviously you've had your first episode now, as you said, and like, I know Ferryhouse is busy at Easter and it's busy for the Winter Festival, but Leopardstown is intense.
Look, you have the eyes of the world looking of the racing scene at Christmas. Everyone in terms of is looking, particularly the ground at Leopardstown. I think that the track team there and ourselves, with Lorcan Wire was clerk up there until the end of December. Now with Paddy Graffin, and you're judged by your ground each day you go in racing. And we're gearing up for DRF, where ground is lovely position as we speak, with a bit of rain today. They've done a great job getting the ground back from Christmas, which is quite a quick turnaround to get it back in 4 weeks in the month of January, when you've had very cold spell and a wet spell and not much growing. But the lads have done a great job, and the track is in great shape. But in 2 weeks' time, they'll be expecting optimum national hunt jumping ground, and it's up for us to produce. And if it's not produced, it's in my head. So it's as simple as that.
Oh, okay. Mr. Mullins be on the phone. He likes to pick up the phone towards Leopardstown, doesn't he? Get the hose out, because
but everyone wants ground. That their horses will run up in the optimum condition, and there's no issue. But the biggest problem is we'll only have 15 winners at DRF. There's going to be a lot of losers, a lot of long faces. But you just want to be happy that we produce the optimum ground and the optimum in terms of the fence preparation, the tracks, the race conditions, everything else, and try and get as competitive racing as we have. And look, we went hard to get UK representatives. With 7 entries lined up for DRF from 6 different UK trainers, which is great. And Rebecca Curtis, I think she might bring Haughty Cologne over, which would be great to see him. He was so impressive in the Irish Grand National. And don't forget, Noel Meade was going to round Affordale Fury. His aim had been the Irish Grand National till a slight setback, and he's one of the favourites now. So she's every right to come and see where she's going. And look, she accepts herself. She needs improvement to be sitting at the top table. But like if you forgot his previous run at Newbury, his last run at Chepstow, his Irish Grand National runs, he deserves to have a shot at the top table.
Yeah, absolutely. He does. And I'd be prepared to just put a line through Haydock with him. I think you can do that with a lot of horses every year in that race. Or he's bounced back to form at Chepstow. But just what's involved in enticing the UK runners over? Obviously, the prize money's there, but
look, prize money there. It's relationships, but and it's hard at this time of the year to attract English trainers. Punchestown's the end of the season. They've been through Cheltenham, they've been through Aintree. It's the end of the year, the one last run. So their timing is, whereas this time of the year, unfortunately, everyone's building up for a certain meeting in the Cotswolds in March, and everyone's focused to that. So, if you had a nice horse, you don't want to have your bubble burst in Ireland in January, February. You've worked hard to get your own to where he is, and you say, well, why are we going across into Gordon and Noel's backyard now? Yeah. Whereas when the sun is out in June, in April, May, it makes Punchestown sits very well. Whereas we're just trying to get them on the upward curve.
Yeah. No, look, it's not an enviable task. But Peter, you've mentioned Thurles already. You're giving HRI giving a dig out there. Obviously, quite a unique race course. Thurles is quite a unique town. Like it's a small town. Temple Stadium in there. You have a dog track. You have, one of the most unique race courses in the world that can have. It's the race on Sundays produced Gold Cup winners. Tell us about the role there and getting Thurles back.
Look, I suppose Thurles is the man coming home. Look, I live in Roscrea, live 20 minutes away from the track. I've known the late Pierce Maloney when I started off in the racecourse business. He was there from the very beginning. So they were always very supportive of me, Pierce and the family. I've known them for a long time. So to come back to Thurles is very different, very special for me. So it's great to have the opportunity to work with the family. The track itself, it's unique. It's like, as I said, it's a lot of the tracks at the moment. You look at Fairy House, you look at Navan. It is at this time of year after the rain we've had, we're talking about soft to heavy ground, very testing. Whereas we're looking at Thurles, we're looking at yielding on the chase track, good yielding on the hurdle track. We were watering for a good bit, so it's a track, and it's quite a quick track with the contours of it. So you're coming down for the last 3 furlongs before a little pull up to the winning line. So, but the horse that is produced, it's we look tomorrow in Ascot, and we see Willie's horse going to Ascot in the 2 miler. Same the horse 2 miler tomorrow for Willie and Paul Townend. Ilite Tom, sorry, of course. Like, he won his beginner's chase here. Affordale Fury won it here in November. So the good horse are happy to come here, because it's the nice ground at this time of the year, rather than going to some of the heavier tracks up the country. So it certainly has a great place in Irish racing. So look, we're helping the Maloney's out at the moment, and it'll be interesting just to see where we go at the end of the season.
Yeah, look, I was down there 2 years ago when Allaho won the Kinloch Bray, and it was torrential rain. The roads were flooded outside. I think the going only changed the yielding to soft halfway through the card. But look, we had a great time. We ended up staying down there, and like it's like the town is basically a square with 4 or 5 pubs in it and maybe a restaurant. We had a ball when we were down there, and it's well worth taking in. Obviously, the meeting has been moved to a Sunday. It used to be on a Thursday. Yeah. I do like midweek racing, so I'd prefer it still on the Thursday. But obviously, we're getting the crowds and getting people going racing. Sunday makes sense. So
it does, and like everyone, since the toss last year of it closing, everyone's come around, and the on-course bookmakers have been very supportive, and they're sponsoring the gate on Saturday, or on Sunday. So anyone who just go and get the tickets online, look, if you rock up on the day, and you can do it outside, we'll certainly be turning no one away. But to gain your free ticket, it'd be better if you have it done beforehand. But everyone has come around to support the track and the love for it. You look at the good horses that have come out of Thurles. You go back to the Bookhouse. Kinloch Bray himself won here on numerous occasions. Native Upmanship, like, he made this horse and jockey chaser race of his own. New Mill champion chase winner. Don Cossack. Sizing John. Like, the horse, the roll call on these races are very special,
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Look, you're going to go through the card with us, Peter, so we'll move on. But just before we do, just want to remind everyone, for our listeners, very kind of Peter, it's free entry to anyone who tunes into TAP. So may as well get on listening and tell your mates about us. We'll get stuck into the first. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay, so the first 12:40 Connolly's Red Mills Irish EBF auction maiden hurdle worth €20,000, 2.5 miles. There's 11 declared. Peter, I'll let you take it away here.
Well, look, and I think, again, we have to thank Red Mills again for their support of these races, these auction races. Again, they're to encourage horses that have been sold at public auction for less than 30,000. Look, 40 coats placed last year at Cheltenham. Ran a reasonable race behind Frankie John at Leopardstown last time. Look, I think if Henry de Bromhead has found an opportunity for 40 coats, this has to be it. So I'm playing a straight ball down the middle and going for a Henry de Bromhead, Darragh O'Keefe to win the opener.
I'd be thinking the same. Like, he was a bumper winner. He's 4th in the Turners. He's 15 lengths behind the Trina, the New Lion, Final the Band, and the Yellow Clay. I'm not sure that, I'm not sure whether that boosts their form or, we'll find out, and we'll find a bit about out on Sunday. He's beaten 23 lengths on Leopardstown on the 29th, but I think he should be winning this. Luke, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole pile for him to be here. William Harvey horse ran well in Newbury, but you'd just be disappointed if 40 Coats couldn't put him away. Listen, he's likely to be short priced, but like the horses they ran into last year in Wingman, James's Gate, Jacob's Ladder, and then the few they finished behind in Cheltenham. I know he finished midfield at Christmas, but it's a bit of a, it's probably not as competitive as the race at Christmas. And if he can come on for that run at Leopardstown, he's probably going to take the world of beating here.
Yeah, look at the trails for 40 Coats there. Probably, nothing too exciting. He's probably going to be odds on, but you'd like to see him getting the job done and beginning to progress with his career. We'll move on to the 110 WT O'Grady, the EJ O'Grady Memorial Irish ABF Novice Hurdle. We're 30,500, 2 miles, 6 furlongs. We've 6 declared. I think this is an interesting little race now. We accepted Toy was on your 5-year-old maiden winner on the 26th at Down Royal. Is he going to see out the trip? He's a Dr. Dino. I'm not sure. He was hitting the line awfully hard over 2.5 miles at Down Royal. Manila Emperor was toured at Limerick behind what's become a bit of a talking horse in U Proof now. King's Books was in behind him. He split the two of them. Has some form. Espresso Milan. It was a good winner of a maiden hurdle last month, and the third that day was best of the rest behind Future Prospect at Nace last week. The one I like is Will Harvey's horse, Daydream Nation. He was a maiden winner. He went to Newbury on the same day, Luke, that you mentioned, the horse in the previous race. I think he could spring a bit of a surprise here, but what way did you say it, Luke?
I'm singing from the same hymn sheet here. As you mentioned, like Septa 12 up to north was very good. He showed a good attitude. But Espresso Milan was good at winning his maiden. Looks to be crying now for a stepping trip. But I really like this lad in Newbury now. He's very impressive in Gore and winning on his debut. And he kind of left a bit of impression that there's a lot more to come. He went over to Newbury and he finished behind 2 decent horses. The winner was rated 130. He shaped that day like a step up and trip was going to suit him. He has an extra 2 furlongs here. I think decent ground is going to be a big key to him. I thought here he could take a bit of beating.
Peter, would you be thinking along the same lines, or are you going elsewhere?
Unfortunately, lads, I'm afraid I'm going the exact same. As I said, you just love, again, last week with Declan Queally and everything else. It's lovely, this is a competitive race, and look, we've remembered it's the first year that it's been run in memory of Edward O'Grady. Formerly it was the W.T. O'Grady, his father, Willie, and now it's Edward as well. So it's nice to have a very competitive race for this. And, Edward would love to see, and I think the route that the Harveys have taken with their Daydream Notion, our nation, would be certainly the route that I'd like to think. But American Jukebox, you couldn't rule out either.
Yeah, absolutely. I never even actually mentioned them, but it's a competitive little race. Like it's I don't know if there's any sort of betting here, but like. No, I'd say it'll be open enough, and the betting will be open enough as well. But we'll move on to 140. You're going to be the judge here, Peter. The most stylish race goers handicap hurdle worth €16,000.
I certainly won't be judging this the most stylish anyway, because I will tell you my style wouldn't be something that you'd want to be judging me on or anything else. But look, Tim O'Driscoll, he did a nice winner yesterday. In Fairy House for Paul Nolan. Barry's horse, they're under slight at the Winter Festival. A couple of horses didn't run quite as well as that they could have, but he liked this horse after his run in Galway, Barry Connell again, and I think he's going to be very, very, I'm going for each of their own for me.
Yeah, look, he's had 4 starts. He's a maiden winner. Was beaten 20 lengths in the Royal Bond, so he's fairly unexposed. He's definitely on my short list, but I think I'd be side myself with Jazzy Matty. He was beaten 4 lengths in the Roybo on the rescheduled card at Easter, Peter. Off this mark of 125, this is probably a little bit easier. So Keane Collins.
Keane Collins and Jazzy Matty have only one day in mind, and that's next March. Going back to Cheltenham, and as I said, everything else is only aiming to that. So, as I said, they won't be thinking about the most stylish lady competition at Thurles.
No, look, well, I don't know what King Collins be thinking about. But no, look, you're right. It is all about that one day in March. But I was thinking along the lines of this is a hurdle race. You may as well go in on the back of a win without getting, hurting your handicap chase mark. So, you want to be going in good form. Luke, what way do you see it?
I thought this was a good race, and as you were saying, it's great to see Jazzy Matty out. But I'd be with Peter. I just wonder whether they have their big circle around the Grand Annual and working back from that. I actually liked Philip Brotwell's that gets in down the bottom. Harry's Dream. It was course and distance winner back in November. It was very good that day. I think just the heavy ground caught him out over Christmas at Limerick. Like, he travelled into the race well and just kind of stopped there towards the last. Caramonan takes off a handy £7 there. I thought he's going to have nothing on his back there at 9.5 stone with the £7 off. I thought he could run well here.
And she's a very jockey I rate a lot, Karen Monaghan. She knows the time of day, and she's certainly worth her £7.
Yeah, no, I think she's excellent. Like, she's really come on now in the last 18 months, and she's beginning to make a bit of a name for herself. Obviously, she's Ian Dunhu's given her plenty of chances, and she's been taking them. I think actually Anna McGuinness rode that last day when he won over course and distance. So sure, she only rides winners anyway. We'll move on to the 2:15, the Kerry Glass Irish EBF Mares Novice Steeplechase. 2.5 miles, or just short of 2 miles 5 furlongs. We've 6 declared. Look, lads, I would be slightly worried about her trip, but isn't it a penalty kick for Jade DeGrugy? Peter?
For me, anyway, yeah.
If Jade DeGrugy started a lap after the other, she'd still win it. I think she's so far ahead of them. She's a Grade 1 winner. She's met 2 very good mares in her 2 runs to date. Good run behind the big Westerner. I cannot see beyond Jade DeGrugy. I think you'd be looking for who'll chase her home, is my opinion, for this race.
Who do you think will chase her home, Peter?
I think Henry de Bromhead's horse, Travis down the bottom, Darrow O'Keefe.
Yeah.
I think it was a good run, the last run. And, Henry knows the time of day, and I would say that would be the forecast for this race, would be the way I'd look at it. Jade DeGrugy to beat Therese.
Luke, you along the same lines?
The exact same lines. There's not much you can add to Jade DeGrugy. Like, she ran a cracker at Christmas behind the big Westerner, and I'd be the same there with Henry's horse to follow her home. She had some good runs over fences, and probably the best of those was back in Ferriers in November, and she finished behind Flicker of Hope. Gave that form a good boost in Nace last week. But yeah, Jade DeGrugy and probably Tarzi's to follow her home.
Look, she's probably just going to go and win, and she's probably 20-30 pound in hand, but I think the 2 mile 5 at Thurles takes a lot of getting. Like, as Peter said earlier, it's a fast track, and that means they're usually going hard, and that's why I think it's played into the hands of the likes of Don Cossack and Sizen John, who said very, very well. That's why I think that the Kinloch Bray can produce Gold Cup winners. So I would be slightly concerned about the trip for Jade DeGrugy, because she was definitely, I don't know whether she didn't stay, but she was definitely outstayed at Limerick at Christmas. So look, they're probably not going to go hard enough for her, but yeah, look, Therese would be the danger for me as well. Late lengths off Flicker of Hope and fell behind July Flower back in October. But yeah, look, you're probably right, guys. It's probably a penalty kick. So we will move on to the 250. Support Thurles Bookmakers Handicap Steeplechase, the same trip, just short of 2 miles 5 furlong. We've 14 declared. We see Rising Dust in here again. He's got £15 for his win at Thurles before Christmas. Would he be where you're looking, Peter?
Well, I'm afraid I'm going to let you lads go first, and then I'll tell you what my thoughts are, because I seem to be going in first, and you're all following me. So I'll give you the chance to lead.
That's the plan, Peter. Just want to see whatever you're back in. Look, he might have found a nice race for him to win £15. Like, I think the handicapper's just sick of him, but as I look down through, I don't know. Like, there's nothing really I like there. Maybe that's about right. The Philip Rothwell horse, winner off 109 here on good ground, pulled up the last day here in the race that Rushmount won, down to 111, £2 above the last winning mark. But I'm just, taking a chance. it's probably a race I'm not going to have a bet in. But Luke, what about you?
I'd kind of want to get after Rising Dust. I'd say he's going to be short enough, and like £15 for the last day. Like, he's been one of the stories of the season this year so far, like 4 from 5. I know at lower grades, but it's been good to see him each time winning. But there's kind of two that I was looking at. Probably less of the two is individual least for Gavin Cromwell. He hacked up twice last year in Navan. He bet a wave to see the second day over 2.5 miles. Like, he only won by half a length, but there's a lot more in the tank that day. He's had 2 runs this year over 2 miles, which is just too short for him. Just the stable form is probably what swayed me away from him in the end, but I do think he's a horse that will be winning off that mark. The one I fell down on was John Ryan's Grange Walk. Ran well at Christmas. Like, he had good form in the autumn there, replaced form. Like, he is 11 now, but he has shown snippets of form. He ran well at Leopardstown over Christmas. He loves a bit of fast ground. The step back up and trip here should be no issue to him. He's down to a mark of 115. He has been up as high as 144. Like, he's won off 137, 130 and 117. I think he's down to a nice mark here. Stepping up and trip with a bit of quicker ground, I think he could be he's probably going to be a decent each way price here. I'd probably chance him.
Grange Walk, Luke, was it the 11-year-old?
Yeah.
Peter, did you find this one?
Well, do you know what? Rising Dust, he's won his last 2 here. He won the famous Maloney Cup here on his last run in Thurles. Did it very well. A Wave of the Sea ran last in the Paddy Power. This is no Paddy Power race. Shane Broderick, I can see him coming back in again. He's not a total back number just yet. And again, up the top, Brave Fortune, now with Joseph O'Brien, Danny Mullins in the place. They're 2 horses that I'd take on Rising Dust. I certainly would. Rising Dust, you'd want to be getting a nice price for him. And I think Brave Fortune and A Wave of the Sea would be 2 of the pose, but I do think Rising Dust is the horse for me.
Was Brave Fortune with Willie Mullins?
He was, and he was with Pat Doyle before that.
Yeah. Look, okay, it's not really a punting race for me, which will be very unusual in a handicap chase. But yeah, look, I'm not sure Rising Dust is going to cope with the £15. My tentative selection would be that's about right. We'll move on to the feature 320, the Horse and Jockey Hotel Steeplechase of Grade 2. We have 5 declared. Appreciate last year's winner turns up again. He's now 12. He chased Affordale Fury home here in November. He's gone on and won the Savills at Leopardstown. Like, appreciate he's still running well. He's rarely out of the places. He obviously likes to hear. Look, he's going to be short enough. If they think one might trouble him, it's Hercules Desai. He's a winner over 2 miles 4 furlongs in May. And he was third in the 4-3. He was pulled up in the Grade 1 at Leopardstown over Christmas, but I'd be prepared to put a line through that one. Look, it's probably a poor renewal. We've been mentioning the Roll of Honour earlier, and I'd say there's certainly no Gold Cup winner in here. But Luke, what's your thoughts?
I probably just thought Appreciate It was going to just go and win it now. Like, if he runs anywhere near that form of the race in Thurles, last time behind Affordale Fury, or even if he runs to last year's form, he'll give the weight away and win this. Maybe the one to follow him home will be Monbeg Park. He ran well early in the season behind Hartwood at Punchestown with only just bet 2 miles 6 around here, but decent ground. He's getting weight all around. If I was to have a tentative selection to follow Appreciate It home, it'd probably be him.
Peter,
and I suppose from my own, as I said, Monbeg Park is a horse I feel I owe one to, because I said he won the Rybo 2 years ago and was thrown out by the stewards. And he deserves to get a nice win in for the Doyles. And now with Jack Foley, I'd love to see him run a big race. But Appreciate It, he was running a big race in the National before. I think he won't be too far. But I think Gentleman to Me and Mark Walsh might be the one to follow him home with. I'd love to see a big run from Monbeg Park. And it's great that Jack Foley is taking on the Mullinses. So I'm delighted for that.
No, look, and thankfully he has entered them.
Thankfully, exactly.
So it would be great to see him win it, but I think I like Luke. I think Appreciate's probably the most likely winner, but I think Hercule Desai could, stepping up in trip, maybe put it up to him. Right, we'll move on to what I think is the most interesting race on the cards. The one I'm looking forward to. It's a Hunter Chase, the 355 SIS, the Barn Irish Racing Hunter Steeplechase. We've 13 declared. Like, you some nice old names in here. Solitary Man was a horse I was very, very fond of. He beat Magic Sadler in October. Magic Sadler, he was just touched off by a horse of Patrick Mullins at Clonmel last week. He got a great spin off. I can't think of the Emily Costello, was it? You might know, Luke. He got a great ride off her anyway. 2 wins and point to point. Sorry, Solitary Man has 2 wins and point to point. He was beaten by the Gofford on his only defeat. Lifetime Ambition, he's beaten 2 lengths by Bartlemy Boy. He was giving him £4. They'll be off levels on Sunday, but Bartlemy Boy is in first time cheap pieces. He's 4 from 10 in point to points. 12 lengths fifth. In a good race on New Year's Eve, he was second to Wonderwall in November. Before that, Wonderwall has one plan in mind, and that's to go back to Cheltenham and win. But this horse has done plenty of winning, and I'd like him here. I'd also be keeping an eye on the Rebel County, only a 6-year-old. The winner in Tipperary in May, unseated in that big race at Stratford during the summer. But yeah, look, I'd be keen enough on Bartlemy Boy here. I think it's a nice race. Peter, did you get a chance to look at the Hunter Chase?
Yeah, look, as I said, Pat Doyle, Emma Costa, and for poor Roddy O'Byrne, who was one of the top, he owns Big Bar in Lexington, Kentucky. Very popular fella. He's at 98 odd winners in his silks. This horse runs again the Lifetime Ambition, Emma Costello. So I'm sticking with Lifetime Ambition, but it's a very interesting race. I think Solitary Man might be the one to close him out for Josh Halford.
Yeah, look, I think it's an absolute cracker. It's the race of the meeting. In my opinion, it sounds bad to say about a Hunter Chase, but it's an absolute cracker. Luke, did you get a look?
Oh, sure. When I got to the last race on the card, I was thinking, no, another bumper. But then I seen this and seen all the declarations. I was like, this is one of the races of the day. Now I'm with you on this. Some of the names in this, like even Lifetime Ambition in there, as you mentioned, like he ran a cracker in the Fox Hunters last year. But I'd probably just side with last year's winner. Will It Go Ahead? He ran a cracker up the north and down Royal behind. It's on the line. He's only an 8-year-old. Gordon and Beck stood bottom after winning this race last year. Went to Cheltenham. He was placed behind Wonderwall, and It's on the line. I thought if he came anyway on from running up and down Royal on Stevens' day, if he comes on for that and he runs anywhere near his Cheltenham form, he'd probably just go win this.
Yeah, and it must be remembered that there's only one more Hunter Chase after this before Cheltenham for these open horses. So there's one at Naas, but this is the last one. So a lot of the Irish horses to qualify for Cheltenham or whatever, this is their park chance. So that's why it is such a competitive race, and it's great to see 13 hunters line up.
Is there not one at Gowran as well, or is that?
That's it, but that's too close, I think, for horses really going on the Tetra Team.
Yeah. Okay. Where would you get it? Three lads getting giddy about a Hunter Chase at the end of the card. There's no other podcast in the world.
You wouldn't be going home before the last anyway.
No, not this time. Peter, we know you have a busy day at Navan tomorrow. We're just going to run through a few selections. I don't know whether you had a chance to look at the card.
As I said, I haven't looked at Navan. You've thrown that on me. But, the thing tomorrow about Navan, as I said, the lads have done a great job. They've had some very heavy ground for the last couple of fixtures in Navan, and they've done a great job in getting ground back. But the ground will be very tiring tomorrow. Okay. Donal Curtis and Kieran and the team in Navan have done a great job, but it will be tiring ground tomorrow. So I think that's the first thing for any selections to remember, is that your horse will want form on soft and heavy ground.
No, there you have it now.
And it will be kind of tacky rather than, so the jockeys won't be coming in dirty or anything like that, because people say, the jockeys will come in and there's no dirt in their breeches or anything else, because that doesn't mean that it's not heavy ground or testing or tiring ground.
Yeah, no, it'll be gluey and sticky.
Yeah,
Also,
absolutely.
so you had your first Navan Winter Festival
Yeah, and
as
again, I
well.
lost the first day of that too. So the lads, they love to rig me again, or to rib me again.
That,
Look,
that
the Friday was very heavy rain on the Friday,
we'll have to
and
take
went
that
in on
over,
Saturday.
obviously.
Saturday morning, we looked at it, and there was puddles of water everywhere. But again, Navan and Fairyhouse, all it wanted was 24 hours to dry off, and there was no problem for the second day.
So you have a Navan Winter Festival, you have Fairyhouse Winter Festival and Easter, you have Leopardstown Christmas and the DRF. So when's Thurles getting a big festival?
We'll wait one step at a time.
we're lucky to have it. We'll be happy with what we have. Look, Peter, we'll only be a minute. I'm going to run through. I have a couple. Luke, you probably have some, so you might want to get your pen and paper now, Peter, to take these down.
I'll take them down. All right.
Yeah, 12-10, a rated novice hurdle. We only have done was the one I was looking at, Luke. Gavin Cromwell, a 6-year-old. I know he's not quite back to form yet, but look, I think he's a nice horse. He was pulled up at Cheltenham in November, but it was during his really, really tough period. He fell. It's the Galway form. He fell when he was looking like he was going to be all sort that. He was going to run a grade 1. He was a maiden winner before that. Did you like one in this race?
I like Gordon's horse here. I couldn't believe this horse gave him 126 after winning at Leopardstown over Christmas. He won over 2.5 miles that day. And as Peter was saying, you're going to want a horse that stays a bit further here and dropping back to 2 miles. He shouldn't have an issue with that. And it's a tidy race. You have Fierce Handy in there too, who probably would have won at Leopardstown only for a mistake at the last. So it's a tidy race, but I'd be with Gordon's. I think he could be a lot better than 126 here.
Okay.
And I think Gordon went on the record as saying he was shocked at the rating this horse got, and that's the only reason he's running in this race is because he was given 126.
Oh look, but there you have it. So no need to listen to me. All in on Lazard the Star. The 12:45 maiden hurdle, 2 mile 6 core compliance. The one I like here, 6-year-old, second to Septitoy, who we spoke about earlier at Down Royal. He was behind Champagne Kid before that. He just ran down by Champagne Kid. He Can't Dance was 11 lengths back in third. Did you have a look, Luke?
I thought He Can't Dance probably just go win this. Like him and the horse that bet him at Thurles the last day, they pulled a mile clear. He probably just got nailed that day by Long Branch. I thought he'd take a bit of beating here.
Peter, anything for us or we move on?
Well, put it this way, He Can't Dance. Well, I give him one last chance. It's his last chance. If he doesn't dance this time, it's his, he should win this. If don't forget, as a bumper horse, he was very impressive, and he was one of the top. And he just this is his last chance.
This is last chance. Look, right, T's gone against me again there. The 120, Luke. I've nothing.
This is tricky. We have the rematch from Christmas with Granka Tatai and Nagaridi. Boys just siding with Colin Murphy's horse, Sanush. I thought he was good the first day in Fairyhouse when he was bet behind Katie Daniels. Now that race is working out particularly well. Like he had a few come out. The horse that won the maiden at Fairyhouse on Thursday that robbed Paul, can't think of its name, is Peter Buchanan's horse that won at a big price. Darragh O'Keefe lifted it home up the straight. That was in behind it that day. Sanush came out and made no mistake at Punchestown the next day. I didn't think its rating of 120 was too harsh. I thought he'd go close there. And
Sanush was very impressive on very heavy ground at Easter, on Easter Tuesday last year in the listed mares race. So yeah. She'll get the ground. She'll love a test. And I think Brian Hayes and Colin Murphy will collect there.
I'm a big fan of Sanush. I thought she won like a really good horse when she won that bumper last year. I just think Colin Murphy's horses can be so inconsistent, and there's lots of them here now. I've spent a lot of money on, so I kind of I'll just move on. The 150 handicap hurdle, 2.5 miles. Little Boy Civila was the one I really like here. Had 2 handicap starts, both times behind Ian Donoghue horses. Two nice enough horses. 2 Ian Donoghue horses that have actually gone and won again. Peter Roe was second in one of those races. And both of them, was one, and Thurles ran really, really well in the Fishery Lane, I think it was. They were second and third in the Limerick race behind Middleton Rare, only a 5-year-old. Look, he's probably going to have to take a step forward, but I think if he does and he races more prominently, that he could be causing an upset at a big price. Luke, what's your thoughts?
Old friend of the show, Ted's Corner, is in here, but I'm not sure I could face into him another time. He's kind of stung me enough now at this stage. I'll look elsewhere. But I thought Mick Winter's horse was very interesting. He finished behind Sanush in that race of Ferios 2 runs ago. Back in 6, wasn't bet that far. Came out and made no mistake at Nace. I didn't think 102 was too harsh on her, and 7-2 there. I think Mick Winters could have a nice winner there at Navan tomorrow.
Peter, you got anything for us?
I go a little bit. Sonny Carey's a trainer who really knows the time of day. He's high notions in this. You know what? And I just at a bit of a each way price, I'd have a nice play on high notions for me.
Okay, high notions for Peter. Sorry, who's the Mick Winters horse?
She'll run for Briggs.
Right, and I'll take Little Boy Civil for Philip Rothwell and Oliver Barden. The 225, a beginner's chase. We see Sladesdale and Wingman go at it again. I'm a big fan of Spread Boss Head. We haven't seen an awful lot of him. He was a 2-time hurdle winner, Barton Albert Bartlett. He was then off until he was beaten 11 lengths in the Grade 2 at Easter at Fairyhouse. This is Chase debut. He's a 9-year-old. He's a bit early to be making his Chase debut, but look, I'd say he's made of glass, but a horse with plenty of ability. And I think if he retains that ability and potential, and Willie hasn't fit enough, he could go and win it. But did you have a look at this, Luke?
Yeah, Sladesdale is a horse that it's a bit disappointing now that he hasn't won over fences at this stage. He's kind of a horse that I want to be taking on nearly every day he runs. Saying that,
you can't pay him for the last day.
No, slide tackle.
Gosh, the winner was still in front of that stage. No, no, I thought Wingman here, he obviously finished behind him over 2.5 miles at the course and distance, 2 runs back up to 3 miles. He ran well on New Year's Day behind K Dahi. I'd say K Dahi, if he was in against Sladesdale, would put a similar number on him. One's 11-10, one's 11-4. I'd probably just chance the bigger price of Wingman.
Peter, I have a feeling you'll be in the Sladesdale camp.
Look, as I said, I've been in the camp one too many times. You know, he was, you know, I know he was brought down the last day, but as you said, was he going to do it? Spread Boss 10, when you look at a 9-year-old in a beginner's chase, you just wonder, is there anything coming through? Wingman, he's been placed there. He's knocking on the door, but again, with Jack and Gordon, I think I'll take the chance that they're back on a roll again.
That's Wingman, is it?
Wingman for me, yeah.
Wingman for Peter. Luke, who was it again? Just remind me.
Yeah, Wingman.
Yeah, Wingman. The 2 is against me again. Look, I'll take Spread Boss Head. He's a really nice horse. I just hope he has retained his potential. Right, 3 o'clock handicap chase over 3 miles. A horse I've spoken about a lot since just before Christmas. Brown Boots, 7-year-old, was well punted at Clonmel the last day. Was held up. That he had his first run for a while at Limerick over Christmas, and I'd say it was just a pipe opener, and the money was down at Clonmel, but he was dropped out. And I just think on ground that heavy, it's very, very hard to make up the ground. And look, I get it, you're going, we'll drop the horse out, and you know, they'll be coming back to us, but you're not always making the ground up when it's that testing. I think they might have panicked a bit and they've gone chasing here. I do think he'll win a chase, but I think there was a hurdle race in him. But look, they'll have the opportunity to go back and win a hurdle race on ground that's not as testing, or even not just as testing. If he's ridden a bit handier, I think he'll pick up a hurdle race. But I'd like to think that he's well able to jump a fence, and off a mark of 84, he'll go and win this. But Luke, did you get a look at this?
I'll take your word for it on Brown Boots.
Right, fair enough. Peter.
I think coming back 8 days later is going to be a hard task for him. Heavy ground is going to be heavy again tomorrow. Look, one against, and I know is Robert Tyner, Philip Enright down the bottom. Connemara Shore at a big price, I think, is an each way bet because it's going to be a slog. So the first thing you want to get is weight off their backs. So that's why I'm working from the bottom up.
Fair enough. Okay, I didn't have a look at the bumper. Did any of you lads any thoughts on the bumper?
No, Willies for the bumper, is that what they say?
Willies for the bumper. I seen a 1-2 shot in the head. I said, look, we'll have backed enough winners. We'll go home. Yeah. I'll be in Italy anyway, sipping red wine, so I won't be looking at the bumper at Navan.
But this way, are you contributing to the Gigginstown Fund on your trip to Italy? Are you?
Oh yeah, I am, unfortunately. Yeah, I am. Yeah. Sure. Look, I'm going to Rome and they're flying me into Milan. Sure. Look, what's not tonight?
Have a ball.
No, I'm not going to Rome. I'm going to a place called Lucca. Just outside Pisa, so looking forward to the break. I'm raging I won't be at Thurles, to be honest, Peter. As I said,
you'll have another day.
Yeah, but look, actually, we're going to go down during the next meeting's in February. We might go down and stay over because the young lad will be off school, so we'll get down Thurles on a Thursday. But look, Peter, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. Thanks very much, and delighted to have you go through the card with us. I know you've
as I said, you mightn't be when the results are known on Sunday evening where we're going. But look, as I said, lads, you do a great job in promoting Irish racing throughout the week, and particularly the lesser fixtures. The big meetings sell themselves, but you do a great job with the lesser fixtures, and it's much appreciated by so many of your listeners. And as I said, we love to see see the pair you're racing in. It says you're great for our sport.
Thanks very much, Peter. As I said, where would you see it? 3 lads getting giddy about 100 pace at the end of the card. But look, that's what it's about. It's not all just about Cheltenham. It's getting more and more boring every year until you actually get there and you're meeting your friends. You see once a year, but like it's the day-to-day stuff. This is what keeps the industry going, and this is horse racing. So, look, obviously, thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Luke. Like and subscribe. Tell your mates. Tell the barman. Get down the pub for a few points now. Dry January's over, and have a watch of this at the bar. So, that's it. Any closing comments from yourselves, lads?
No, as I said, enjoy the great racing that we have in this country. As I said, we've Thurles this week, we've the Thyestes next week. Week after that, we've DRF. So there's great racing every week. We don't need to go to Cheltenham because we have the best of the sport taking place here.
Absolutely, and I've said a few times this month, January is my favourite month for racing. It's absolutely brilliant. We have the Limestone lad at Nace as well. Next Sunday, so it's my favourite month. And you know what? It's a great excuse to get out. Don't be in the pub. Get out of the house. Get some fresh air. Great family day out. Get out and enjoy it and support the race courses. But we leave it at that, lads. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you.